All right, welcome to Ice Age TV. Complications here in trying to get the phone set up so I can kind of do a two conversation thing here with Joe and I. We just call him Joe. He likes that name.
Vic.
So,
Name, Vic.
yeah. So we've had one session of the used car market conversation, and I've been wanting to make a video on the electric car market conversation. And if anybody here is the car enthusiast, they know that the dominant talk these days is the future of electric vehicles. And for me, I don't want to come across as this being a political video, because it's not. This is an information video, and yeah, everybody has their views, thinking that electric cars kind of have an agenda, but let's focus more on the reality of what's going on in the market, being that the manufacturers are adapting to electric vehicles, and they're slowly transitioning away from the ice age, which, if you follow my channel, ICE is internal combustion engine age. That's the reason I called it, because I like the ice age vehicles. But we're going to the electrification of vehicles, and there just seems to be a lot of push that's something that's going to transition sooner, a lot sooner than later. And I've done some research, and anybody who watches my videos, I love others' comments, and I love others' information, and be sure to share any information you have. But from my read on the market trend, if you look at the amount of vehicles that are sold each year, and how long people keep cars, the talk is you're seeing 10, 11-year ownership of vehicles. And if you look at the number of vehicles sold new per year, they're anywhere from 15 million to 18, 20 million, just depending on where the economy is. So there was a great article I read here a few months back that talked about, the variables of the used car market and the length and longevity people keep their cars, and people eventually going to electric. And what's really incredible in this article is it's a very slow transition, that it's not going to be like the electric cars 10 years from now are half the car market. And it's more like you may be lucky to see it be 10%. I mean, and I know, me saying that, I'm sure a lot of people are like, no way, 10 years from now, only 10% of the car market is electric vehicles. Well, if you run the numbers and you look at how many vehicles are in the market in this country, and you look at what people do when they buy new cars and how long they keep their existing cars, yeah, you'd probably be amazed that this everybody riding around electric cars is not going to happen that quickly. So I'm doing a lot of talking here. I always like to get Joe's input, because Joe always has some different views on the electric vehicles, and I think what he talks a lot about is, what's the reality to the range, and why does it have to be electric when there's other avenues to take?
Yeah, my main thing has been always the hybridization is needs to be the goal, and that we don't have the infrastructure to go all electric. We don't have especially in Northern Virginia, where we're broadcasting from, it's all coal and natural gas is 90% or 90, even higher percentage of our powering, and you got all the green agenda pushing these electric cars that are still just putting a strain on the fossil fuel market and causing natural gas prices to rise, and other industries to be affected. But
but also you talk too about how the hydrogen, you talked about cleaner gasoline.
There's much better options out there for the longevity. We've talked about hydrogen for years. Hydrogen's a much easier easier green energy to transition to, because it still requires the same technology that we use today with the holding of fuel cells and transferring into tanks and so forth. So it really wouldn't take that drastic of an infrastructure update to allow for our gas stations and pumping stations to fill hydrogen. But yeah, it's just kind of it's been an agenda kind of pushed mainly by Tesla.
So Tesla. So for me, I think Tesla has done a lot of things, to advance the electric vehicle in today's car market, car world. And, Joe talks about the hydrogen, and what's very interesting is Toyota, the CEO of Toyota, who is actually family of the original founders of Toyota, they are actually very more anti-electric. They really do like the ICE engine to continue. They really do like what Joe mentioned, the hydrogen capability. They like
the hydrogen.
They like actually the solid state battery infrastructure for their vehicles as well.
This is a safer technology.
Right, exactly. So we had a bit of a bump there, but we talk about electric vehicles being pushed more than ever, and what's interesting is the world governments are pushing the manufacturers to adapt to electric vehicles, or otherwise they're penalized through the carbon footprint. And if you don't understand that, the carbon footprint is when manufacturers make vehicles, they look at what will be the pollution to the world from that manufactured product. And Tesla was very smart because they actually are paid on carbon footprint credits from manufacturers that don't meet those guidelines that the world governments are forcing onto the manufacturing. So basically, say like Chrysler, or I should say Fiat or Peugeot, Stellantis, who now owns that conglomerate, is way behind in electrification of their vehicles. So they have to pay like $350 to $500 million a year in tax credits, carbon footprint credits, to Tesla. And it's a penalty to Stellantis, but at the same time, it benefits Tesla to continue to be able to push the electric vehicle, which to me, it's kind of unfortunate, because for us ICE age guys, we're actually paying through our vehicles that we drive today for the future of electric technology, when I think a lot here would all kind of agree that electrification of vehicles isn't for the whole market. I think it's good that we have options, but I think it's a big mistake that we go just to
pure
mainly
electrification.
Yeah, right. And
without any sort of secondary power source, it makes it very unviable in the long term. Whether it's solar powering the electric, whether it's hybrid motors, whether it's a hybrid hydrogen fuel cell with electric motor, there needs to be some secondary source of
or even
energization.
Third or fourth. I mean,
or tertiary. Yeah, exactly. It just the sole electrification of a vehicle. It's we're not there yet.
And what you have to wonder here is when you do get into the world governments and you do go to the OPEC and the Saudi country, the oil infrastructure, and as if you're abreast of what's going on, China has a very strong hold in the lithium market, which lithium is a key ingredient to making these batteries, and that's like a whole nother angle. You could kind of step back and wondering why such the push so quickly, and you kind of question, is this a power grab? Is this a money grab? Is this a little bit more about that than actually the pitch is we're going to help the environment. And once again, I'm not a person, I have a 17-year-old daughter that wants my daughter and her children not to have a nice future. It's not about that. It's about, are we going down a path where everybody's kind of so focused on one thing that we're doing a disservice to ourselves of not looking at the other options. Like Germany has created a synthetic petroleum fuel that emits no carbon footprint. So I think it's unfortunate that the world governments are penalizing manufacturing and kind of forcing them to create things based on what they believe will resolve problems, when in all factuality, we know as humans that we learn by mistakes. And why don't they kind of pull back a little bit on that and let the options for the hydrogen capability, the cleaner gas. I mean, it's a known fact that they can now make gas that's a clean fuel. And also, it's pretty incredible is the miles per gallon these gas cars are starting to get now, and the performance you get out of them, and just how clean they are. So kind of going back,
you got a lot of green energy tech coming to the market. Between Infinity has the variable compression rates, the VCR rate motors that they're starting to put in, so they can vary their compression ratio. You have Mazda that's working on a motor that they say a internal combustion motor that they say could potentially 200 miles per gallon. So I mean, there's a lot of tech out there, like you're saying, that just hasn't been explored, that would be the equivalent of what we are doing electrically. And
right.
Most people just get hung up that Tesla's this savior.
I had another blip, but kind of rounding up the conversation here on electric vehicles is you don't really get what you think you're getting. It's unfortunate. You don't have on the window sticker of an electric vehicle, consult your local electric company if they're coal, natural gas, nuclear. Doubt that, but that's interesting how they do the information on a car where you pay a gas guzzler's tax, because I've had the high performance vehicles, and in cars, if you have a sedan vehicle that doesn't get better than 18 miles per gallon, but that's actually, it may be 20 miles per gallon by now, you have to pay a gas guzzler's tax. And I always think it's interesting that when you go buy an electric vehicle, is there a electric company tax because your local electric company doesn't have clean burning fuel to electrify your car? I mean, where's kind of that conversation? I know it sounds goofy to some there, but yeah, I'm getting penalized because I got a gas guzzler tax. But yeah, the local coal plant isn't getting penalized to electrify a bunch more electric vehicles. So going back to kind of finish up our conversation here as far as electric vehicles, I have one on order, an F-150 Lightning truck, and as Joe here mentioned earlier, I've got two on order. But you missed that.
You missed that one. But
so I want to enjoy the opportunity to see new technology and have an electric vehicle, but at the same time, I really believe that as mankind, we're all designed by fault. We all make mistakes, and I think that it would be beneficial for the world governments to not be so hard and pushing everything's electrified. I think that's a mistake. I think that when my daughter's my age, I think that they're going to look around and realize that the electric cars didn't resolve all of the world's challenges and problems.
We're really creating a whole new set of problems to address. That's the biggest thing to me, is that we haven't dealt with the issues from internal combustion engines, and now we're electrifying them without fully figuring out the recycling and the longevity and everything on the electric end.
And I just feel like more than ever, the governments are taking more control of what we really want versus what they think we should have. So hey, thanks for watching Ice Age TV, and leave some comments and hit subscribe.